Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we'll be making this beautiful style for our princesses, and I will encourage you to watch the video to the end. In fact, always watch my videos to the end, because in the course of making this video I might find a simpler or easier way to make the style or to make each step, and I will point it out. So the first thing I did is to mark my half length, and then I went ahead to mark half of my shoulder measurement, and then add half-inch allowance for joining the sleeve. So I'm just marking out the label on the Ankara fabric I'm using. And the next thing I marked is to mark my bust point, and then I'm going to go ahead and connect the lines. To get your bust point, all you have to do is to divide your bust measurement by 6 and then add 1.5 inches. That's to get your armhole measurement. So I connected all these lines, and then I'm remarking my half length measurement because I noticed that it's slanted, is not in a straight form. So once I am done with that, I'm going to go ahead and mark the width of my neckline. And for the width, I marked at 3.5 inches. And then for the width of it, for the length of it, I am marking at 6.5 inches. And I will go ahead and connect these lines. So I decided to remark my neck width, and I marked at 4 inches. So that it will give me what I want. I feel that 3.5 inches is not going to give me what I want. That is going to be too close for my liking. So I remarked it and then connect it to the neck depth. Then I'm going to go ahead and insert quarter of my bust measurement, and then I'm adding 1.5 inches and stitching allowance, and then I am adding my quarter of my waist measurement as well. That's my waist measurement divided by 4, and I'll add 1.5 inches stitching allowance, and then I'll connect these 2 points. Once I am done with this, I'm going to go ahead and cover out my armhole. If you want to take out ½ inch from the armhole, you can go ahead and do it at this point. If you've been watching my videos, you will see where I've done it 1 or 2 times, but for this tutorial I am not doing it today. So I went ahead to mark my shoulder slope, which is 1 inch, and then I will connect it to my neckline. And that's basically all for the front bodice. We are cutting just the front bodice. We are going to go ahead and cut out the back one. If you haven't subscribed up to this moment, please take 1 minute to hit on the subscribe button. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and share my videos to family and friends. So I transferred the front bodice to another pattern, to another fabric, folded fabric as well, and then I am adding 1.5 inches for zipper. You can do 1 inch or how many inches that works for you. Then I'm going to go ahead and pin this all around so that I'll be able to work with this. So the first thing I did is to connect the line straight, my neck starting point straight, so that I'll be able to mark my neckline. And then for the back neckline, I am going down by 1 inch, and then I'll connect it to the neck width. Once I am done with this, I'm going to go ahead and mark out every other side. Is going to be the same. So the difference is just the neckline and then the zipper allowance that I added for the back. Then I'll cut the zipper area open. So I'll go ahead and cut out my lining pieces for this. And as you know, in this channel, most times I use the same fabric for my lining piece, and this is it. I've gone ahead to cut out all my lining pieces for my front and then for my back. So we're going to go ahead and work on the shoulder, and the first thing I'm doing is to do front facing front and then stitch on my shoulder, and I'll repeat the same process for my lining piece. So this is it after I was done. One is for my lining and the other is for the main fabric or the main bodice. So I'm just taking out all my pins, and once I am done with this, I'm just going to go ahead and measure my neckline to cut out our rolled up collar. And I'm not going to measure my zipper allowance because I don't want the roll up collar to start from the zipper allowance. So I'm just measuring one side of the neckline. And I have, I think, about 11.5 inches after I was done measuring. So we are going to go ahead and cut out this collar. So I'm going to go ahead and mark 11.5 inches straight. and I will mark a straight line on it or it. Then the next thing I'm going to mark is the width of the collar. Or before we mark the width of the collar, we are going to extend this measurement by 3 inches. If you look at the collar, you see that it's extended by some slant design. So for the width of the collar, I am marking at 3 inches as well. I will mark it all straight, and then I'm going to go ahead and connect this with my ruler. Once I am done at the beginning of the collar space, I'm going up by 0.5 inches, and then I'm going to go ahead and curve this to meet the center, kind of the center of the collar. And this 0.5 inch, I'm going to extend it at the upper side of the collar as well, just like you see me do. Please go ahead and do this. And then for that extra 3 inches that we marked, I'm going to go ahead and slant it this way to connect it. So that's all for this collar. I'm going to go ahead and cut out this roll up collar out. I have a tutorial of another design for it. I'm going to put it in the description box. Please check it out. So I'm just marking out 0.5 inch all around the collar so that I will have a stitching allowance. I'm going to go ahead and cut this out. So I went ahead to attach a interfacing to the collars. I am using an S stay for it, so I attached it to the side. And this collar, I am cutting it into 4, so once is for one side and then the other side is for the other side. I'll go ahead and stitch it all round. So I'll go ahead and stitch it all around, and then I stitch it at the other side. So I'm done stitching it. I'm going to go ahead and cut out all the excesses, and then at that pointy area I'm going to cut all the excesses out so that I'll be able to push it inside out. So once I am done with this, I'll turn it to the right side and then use my scissors to push out all the edges. You have to be careful with this so that you don't rip open that area. So once I am done, I went ahead to iron all the pieces. You can see it's laying flat now. So we are going to go ahead and attach it to our main fabric, our main bodice. And for this, I am starting from the center front to attach this. Because I do not want it not to get to the center front. So you see the way I placed it. You go ahead and place yours. Make sure that it gets to the center front, and then I'll start pinning it all around to the back neckline. Once I am done pinning this, I'm going to go to my sewing machine and then stitch it on the 2 sides. So this is it after I was done stitching it. I'm just going to go ahead and make notches at the back neckline, because that's where we have a bit of curve. And then I'll bring in my lining and I'll cover it with my lining front facing front, and I'll start pinning down. So I'm pinning from the V-shape area. So make sure that that center front matches, and then I'll pin all around. Once I am done pinning this, I'm going to go to my sewing machine and then stitch it from one side to the other. So this is it after I was done stitching it down. I'm just taking out all my pins that I used to hold it in place, and then I'll go ahead and make notches where necessary. The center front, the back one if you want to notch it again, and then I'll turn it to the right side. So this is it after I was done turning it to the right side. You can see that our is coming together, the star is coming together. So we are going to go ahead and work on the sleeve. So this is, I'm just trying to show you guys how it is at this moment. You can see that the collar is sitting pretty well on the body. So we are going to go ahead and work on the sleeve. And for the sleeve, please, if you don't understand the tutorial on this, please check out the description box. The detailed tutorial on sleeve will be there. So the first thing I'm going to mark is the length of the sleeve, and then I'm adding 2 inches allowance for stitching, for joining and stitching. Then I am going to go ahead and mark the width of the sleeve. I am marking at 10 inches because I want it to be a very wide sleeve. If you look at the style, you see that it's not a fitted sleeve. So once I mark that 10 inches, I'm going to go ahead and mark all these points that I just made, connect it straight. And then I went down for my sleeve cap. I went down by about 4 inches and then connect it. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out all this measurement that I made. So we're going to go ahead and transfer this to our fabric, and for I am using the same fabric I use for my collar, and I've gone ahead to cut this out on my fabric on full. So I'll go ahead and hem this sleeve, and remember we are going to be adding, for me I'm going to be adding elastic to it. So I folded it in such a way that I'll be able to add elastic. So this is my fabric for gathers. I've taken out my half length and then marked the remaining 1 plus 2 inches allowance. I've gone ahead to hem it as well, and then run a loose stitch on the upper part to gather it. So I'm going to go ahead and pull on one of these threads so that it will gather, just like you see me pulling. That's what you're going to do to gather it to your waist measurement. So this is our sleeve. I am done with the with attaching elastic to it. So we're going to go ahead and attach it to our bodice. So I'll open up the front of my bodice. Do not make mistake of attaching this to your back. If you are using the same fabric like me for your lining, check well before you attach. So excuse me, once I turn it to the right side, I'm going to get the sleeve and turn it to the right side as well, and then I'll start pinning it from the end of the sleeve. Once I get towards the shoulder area, I will stop and then pin to the other side. So the excess, I'm going to go ahead and plait it at the shoulder area on the 2 sleeve. So this is it after I was done. You can see that the shoulder area of this sleeve is plated. That's the essence of adding a lot of allowance to it. So I'm done with the sleeve. You're going to go ahead and arrange our fabric so that we can stitch the seam side. And remember, we added 1.5 inch allowance on the seam side. So I'm going to go ahead and stitch by 1.5 inches at the seam side. But for the sleeve, I'm stitching at 1/2 inch, or you can remeasure before stitching. So this is it after I was done stitching the seam side. You see the style is we are almost done with the style. So we're going to go ahead and bring in our gathers. Look at our gathers. I'm done. I'm gathering it. So I'm going to be doing front facing front. That's front of the gathers facing the front of the bodice, and then I'll place it together and I'll stitch from one end to the other. You can pin this down before stitching, but for me, I don't think I like pinning this area down before stitching. So this is it after I was done stitching it down. You can see how beautiful the style is coming up, and I will go ahead and close up my zipper area and then attach my zip, and that's all for this style. I hope you enjoyed this video. I really hope you find value in it, and I hope you like it. I don't know if the color I use for this Ankara is even okay. What do you think if you watch to the end? And don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't subscribed to my channel. Give me a thumbs up, share my videos to family and friends, and I will see you in my next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.